Hello, my name's Sarah Caldwell and I lead the training and education team at Bernina International here in Switzerland. Today we're here to talk about the more joy of Pro. And I'm not here on my own, I'm here with Miriam von Thiele.
Hi Sarah.
Miriam. Now you've been working with the development of the Bernina 7 series, and now the 790 Pro has been out on the market for a while. What can you tell us about these products?
So, well, as you see, all models have a matte faceplate, and I'd like to talk a little bit about the numbering. So we have 770 QE Pro. The 0 at the end means that this machine is a 9mm machine with 9mm stitch width. The 735 Pro with the 5 at the end, that means this machine has 5.5mm stitch width. And we have the 700 Pro, so with a double O or double 0, this means that it is an embroidery only machine.
Now, am I correct that the space from the right of the needle is 10 inches? That's 254 millimeters. What else can you tell me about the machines at a glance?
The size is the same as you mentioned, and we have a 7-inch touchscreen on all models, which is very easy to see everything in the screen. The screen itself is at eye level, very convenient to operate it.
Now, I'm sure many customers out there will be interested to see if they can update their current Bernina 7 series. Is that possible?
No, unfortunately not, because it's not only a software thing, but also hardware things have changed. So we have some improvements made in the hardware. That means, for example, the thread cutter, the bobbin case, and other things. And we have integrated now in all models the Bernina laser and the automatic needle threader.
Fantastic. I'd really like to see how that needle threader works. Could you show us?
Yes, of course. I can show it to you. So you have to thread the needle like usual and then go here around the thread cutter and just push this button, and the needle is threaded automatically. Very easy and very convenient.
So many competitors have a laser onto their machines. What's so different about the Bernina pinpoint laser?
So it's a very thin and fine laser point. And the special thing is that it works in all needle position in sewing. So that means when you change the needle position to one of the 11 needle positions, the laser travels with your needle position. And this is very helpful when doing, for example, buttonholes to determine the positioning of the buttonhole, but also when you are doing applique, and especially in embroidery to position your embroidery design. So you do not have to turn your hand wheel anymore.
So Miriam, tell us more about these models.
The 735 is 5.5mm machine, as I mentioned before, so the stitch width is 5.5 millimeters. It's a perfect machine for sewers, for patchworkers, but also for people who love to do home dec. The walking foot is included, and the walking foot is a perfect foot when working with all the different materials, like sticky materials, but also thick or thin materials. So the 770 QE Pro is, as the name says, a machine especially for quilters. The machine has a lot of quilting stitches inside. It has an integrated dual feed, which ensures even feeding and a nice looking stitch. And the machine comes with the BSR foot, which means you get always perfect results when doing free motion quilting.
So on these two machines, the embroidery module is optional, correct?
Yes, it is. So a customer can decide to just buy the machine, and if he likes embroidery at a later point of time, he can buy the embroidery module later.
Great. But then we have this embroidery-only machine, correct?
Yes, the 700 is an embroidery-only machine, and you have all these beautiful features, as you know, from the 790 Pro, also on the 700 Pro.
Great. So that's a perfect second machine, correct?
Yes, it is.
So tell us about the great new features for quilters.
Yes, of course. So we have new features like the BQM files, which means that you are able to embroider now your quilt designs. The BQM files are quilt designs, mostly monochrome, very simple designs, and you can embellish your quilt with them. And they are unlimitedly resizable.
Perfect. So what does this mean for the quilter?
So you can resize your design as you like. You can go really big or quite small. I propose to show it directly in the machine.
That would be great. So I'd really like to see the embroidery module on the Quilters edition. Can we switch them over?
I think so.
Okay. So Miriam, it really is easy to change to embroidery, right?
Absolutely. So now I'd like to show you how easy it is to work with the BQM files. So I take a design out of the BQM designs, the design 7, and you see it is too big for our hoop and also too big for the diamond form here on our fabric. So that means that you have to reduce the size. And when you reduce the size or enlarge your design, it is also very important to change the SPI value. That means stitches per inch. When you reduce your design, you need more but smaller stitches. When you enlarge your design, you need less but longer stitches. And this works very easily. You go to the setup, to embroidery, and here you can go to your quilt settings, and we change them now to 13. Another important point for quilters is to change the measuring unit from millimeters to inch, because quilters are normally working with inch, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you can do this very easily, and you see now the value has changed to inch.
So I'm very interested to see how you're going to position that design into our diamond shape.
Very helpful is the laser, because you see where your needle goes to the fabric. So as I mentioned before, you have to reduce a little bit your size. It doesn't fit in the hoop, and you can do this very quickly. Yeah, we go to 83%. And to position, we go to pinpoint positioning, and we select 4-point positioning. So here you see you have 4 different points on the screen, and you select just one of the points, and now you are using your multifunction knobs and move this point to the appropriate point on the fabric. When this is done, you select the next point and do the same. And the laser is here a big relief. Then you select the third point. And then the last point. And you see how the design is changing in the screen. And it will fit now perfectly into this shape of the fabric.
That's fantastic. I'm sure you could all do with this kind of feature on your machine. So another thing I think this machine has, which I'd like to know more about because I love doing lettering, is the multi-line lettering.
I can show it to you directly in the machine. So now I need to go back to the lettering. I select an alphabet 3, and you see right now that the keyboard has changed. We have now the QWERTY keyboard, which makes it very easy to enter lettering. And we have here the entering function to do multi-line lettering. So I write, I love my Bernina, or I love Bernina, to make it a little shorter. Love, and then we go to Bernina and go to OK. A nice function in multi-line lettering is the align function, and this works here. You can do it left aligned. This is the default. You can center it, or you can choose right aligned. And here on this both icons you can change the distance of the letters and here the distance of the lines.
So this would be excellent for creating quilt labels.
Yeah, it is.
Now I see there's also a little Wi-Fi sign. So the machines have Wi-Fi, correct?
Yes.
And
all of
also
them?
you can connect with the Stitch Out app.
Yes.
Can you tell us what does the B790 Pro have on top from these machines?
So the B790 Pro is a combo machine. That means the machine includes the embroidery module. You have on top the Shape Designer, which is a creative tool to arrange small designs into formations like a circle or a square. Then you have the color wheel, where you can quickly change the colors of your threads to get an impression how it looks with other colors. In sewing, you have the Stitch Designer to create your own stitches in sewing, not in embroidery. Then you have the multi-directional sewing and the sideways motion function. That means you can sew a decorative stitch not only straight but in other directions.
That's great. So can you tell us then a little bit more about the 770 and the 735 sewing features?
Yes, of course. The 770 QE Pro has 9mm stitch width. It has an integrated dual feed. The BSR comes with the machine, the Bernina Stitch Regulator, as well as the Patchwork Foot 97D. The embroidery module is optional, and this is really the perfect machine for quilters. The 735 has 5.5mm stitch width. It comes with the walking foot, and the embroidery module is also optional. And this is a great machine for sewer, patchworker, or for all those who love doing home deck.
That sounds very interesting, and I'm sure there's many customers out there who are perhaps have a Bernina 5 series and they're wondering what the differences are between the 5 and the 7 series.
I can tell you some differences to the 5 series. So on the 7 series we have much more space. We have 10 inches to the right of the needle, which means 254 millimeters. On the 5 series we have 8.5 inches, which means 215 millimeters to the right of the needle. So 4 centimeters or 1.5 inch more space. And this makes really a difference.
That's right, for your quilting.
Yeah, exactly. Also the screen is bigger. So on the 7 series we have a 7-inch screen. On the 5 series we have a 4.3-inch screen. And we all know the bigger the screen, the better is the visibility.
Yeah, and the user interface is much easier.
Exactly.
Yes. Now, of course, the 5 series doesn't have the automatic needle threader or the laser.
No, this is a feature of all the 7 Pro models, but not on the 5 series.
And then just once more as a recap, tell us more about the embroidery.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, all these models can use the BQM files, which are the quilt designs in embroidery, to finish your quilt perfectly. We have the 4-point placement, which is great to position embroidery designs on your hooped fabric. Then we have the multi-line lettering with the align function. And by the way, the align function works also for smaller embroidery designs, which you make in one hoop. You can arrange them nicely. Then we have the QWERTY keyboard on all these machines and the possibility with Wi-Fi and to use the StitchOut app.
That's very interesting. Now, I think there'll be a few of you out there that have been interested in looking at the 9 series, the Bernina 990. Can you tell us what the differences are between the 990 and then the 790 Pro?
Sure. Also the space, because you know the 990 has 14 inches to the right of the needle. That means I always have to read it because it's unbelievable. 356 millimeters to the right of the needle. That means 10 centimeters or 4-inch more space. So yeah, here you can really work with big and projects, big quilts. Then the screen is bigger, 10.1 inch compared to 7 inch. You can operate the screen with multi-touch gestures, which allow you to easily move designs or to zoom in, to zoom out. This is very helpful.
Yeah, and I think also the jumbo stitches.
Yes, I love them.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the usability with the labeled icons are also interesting.
Yes, of course. Then in embroidery, we have a camera which helps you to place the designs exactly. We have a scanner. That means that you can scan your hooped fabric. So, for example, you have a flower fabric and you want to add a small embroidery detail like a leaf. So you can scan it before and you can exactly place your embroidery design. Then you have the help center on the machine. That means, for example, you have the onboard, or the manual is on board. You just go to the magnifying glass and enter what you are looking for, and then you have the information on the machine. And you have the integrated BSR.
So, Miriam, thank you very much for a great overview of these machines.
Welcome. It was a pleasure to be here with you.
The next step is for you to go to your local Bernina dealer and have a demonstration on these great models and find out which one's the right one for you. Don't forget that we have a lot of resources out there at Bernina.com. We have a lot of how-to videos, blog articles, and don't forget the Bernina Inspiration magazine for ideas for new projects. So I think that's all we have to do here. We wish you all the best with more joy of Pro, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bernina, made to create.